Hey, read through the word. Today is December 4th, and today's lesson is called Darkness to Light. I'm going to go ahead and let y'all know I am in the middle of an allergy fit that's been going on for 2 days. A lot of y'all remember I said this last time when I was getting out all my fall decorations. Well, now we've got now Christmas. And so I'm allergic to real Christmas trees, so we have artificial trees. Well, when you put those up and bring them out, they've got dust on them. And dust is my number one allergen. So I'm trying to hold it together to get through this lesson. But I'll sneeze and sneeze 10 times in a row. So I prayed that the Lord would help me get through this lesson. So here we get with Rudolph the Red-Nosed Teacher and all. So here we go. We are in Acts chapter 26. And I'm looking at verses 17 through 19. And so, last year, my lesson was on Ananias, Felix, Festus, Agrippa. These trials that Paul goes through on the way to Rome. I think last year's lesson was called All Roads Lead to Rome. Because Rome was where Paul's headed all along. And that's where he's going to go. And this is my last lesson with Paul in his timeline. We will be continuing to look at the letters of Paul. And my next lesson is where I last year did the ending of Paul. But it's also the first chapter of Ephesians. And so I will probably be discussing that in our next lesson. But the purpose of Paul is really what we're looking at today, because he does say right here in his meeting with Agrippa exactly his purpose. And I sort of want to talk about that and put it in perspective. So at this point, Paul's journeys, he left off with his friends from Ephesus and that parting. We talked about that the other day. And he knew he was going back to Jerusalem. And from Jerusalem, it was not going to be freedom and more journeys. It was, Paul knew would be the end of his life. So he's arrested in Jerusalem. And then he's sent through a series of trials over actually quite a few years. And where we end up, so he goes all the way through, because he appeals to the Caesar. And so he goes all the way through and he gets to Agrippa. And that's where we are today. And from Agrippa, he will go to Rome. And then there's a whole shipwreck and everything. And that's in tomorrow's reading. But a little bit of historic perspective, because you will understand why it's becoming so dangerous for Christians at this time. Because my goodness, Caesar is Nero. See how I tried to combine Caesar and Nero. The Caesar of the time is Nero. And we know Nero as watching Rome fiddled while Rome burned. We know Nero as dipping Christians into oil to light them to use as lighting his garden. But Nero becomes Caesar in 59 AD. And he is Caesar. This is 59 AD. Sorry. He is Caesar from 54 to 68. The first 5 years. I might have my year wrong. No, I know he's Caesar from 54 to 68. The first 5 years, because I think we're in the 60s at this point. Sorry. Around 59 is when he goes crazy. And the first 5 years of his reign, everything was calm and peaceful. But around 59 AD, that's where I'm getting my 59. Around 59 AD, it goes crazy. And that's what we know as Nero now, are those years. And so he will get to Nero. He's not there yet. But Agrippa is the stepping stone to get him there. So he has this conversation as he goes through. Everyone plays pass the buck, and the buck stops with Caesar. Caesar Nero. So we're here with Agrippa, and he has this conversation with Agrippa, which is very fascinating, actually. All of these conversations are. But in chapter 26, verses 17 through 19, he actually tells him what Jesus said to him when he saw him on the road to Damascus. And he said, well, let's go back up to verse 15. He says this, "Who are you, Lord?" I asked. And the Lord replied, "I am Jesus, the one who you are persecuting. Now get to your feet, for I have appeared to appoint you as my servant and my witness. Tell people that you have seen me, and tell them what I will show you in the future. And I will rescue you from both your own people and the Gentiles." Yes, I am sending you to the Gentiles. For what purpose? To open their eyes so they may turn from darkness to light and from the power of Satan to God. Then they will receive forgiveness for their sins and be given a place among God's people who are set apart by faith in me. Okay. It's Paul's purpose statement. As an organization, they will usually tell you to have a mission statement, because where there is no vision, the people will perish. Where there's no mission, like my school, our mission is preparing students for life and godliness. And so they know every day in school, this is what I'm preparing you for, life. Whether your life past this is military, is community college, is a 4-year college, is in joining the workforce, I always tell them education is that you may graduate high school, but education is never over. And if you're going into a trade, you're going to need certification. So you think, education continues for the rest of your life. And I'm preparing you for life, all the skills you need for that, and godliness in whatever area that God places you in. That's what we do. So to have a mission for your life, I watched a I like podcasts, but I like the ones where I can see. Because if I listen, it's like this. Being able to see someone's face, it helps you pay attention. To me, it does. I can't do podcasts that well. Unless it's one that has a YouTube video I can watch too. Because I feel like I just do better with that. Listening, I'm distracted. I listened to a podcast the other day, and it was an interview with Willie Robertson from Duck Dynasty, if y'all remember Willie, and about a book he just wrote called Gospeler, Gospeler. And it's which is actually, it's a real word. He didn't make it up. It's just come out of use. And it's those who tell the gospel. And he said, that it really encompasses the purpose, the mission statement for the Christian. And he said, Jesus gave us the mission. He told us to go make disciples, baptizing them and teaching them. Those 3 things. He said, that's what we're to be about. So you got to tell the gospel, because we tell people about Jesus and we make disciples, baptizing them in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, and then teaching them. And it's like a mission. And he said, that's my mission. I have to look at everything. Does it fit the mission? Paul's mission is to pull people out of the darkness and into the light. Because John 1 tells us that people love their darkness. They love their darkness. And into that darkness comes light. But men love their darkness. And this is going to be hard. I would make the point that the same mission of Paul is the same mission to us. We live in a very dark world. Our mission is to pull people from darkness to light, from Satan to God. There's no in between. There is no in between. You are for Satan or you are for God, because anti-God is to be with Satan. It's that simple. We have gone through and muddied waters, and we have tried to be people of feeling and, and gotten away from the gospel. That's not who we are, and that's not who Paul is. Paul gives us an example of a bold witness standing before the biggest people in government of his day that have the power of life and death over him. And he looks them straight in the face, every single one of them, and says, let me tell you about Jesus. I have come here to rescue you from the darkness and take you into the light, to pull you from Satan and to God. And get this, you can be a part of his family by faith. It's the best news ever. The same mission that Paul has, we are on mission with today. Are we letting ourselves get distracted? Please don't. Please don't. This is the most important thing you'll ever do. Most important thing you'll ever do is to tell people about Jesus. That's why we're in the Word every day, to equip us for the mission that He's called us to. We are called to make disciples, baptizing them and teaching them. That's what I do here. I teach. I teach you. I teach. That's what I do. We're all called to call people out of the darkness into the light. Come on, y'all. Let's get going. Let's go. We'll see you next time on Read Through the Word.